Okay, so what we're going to talk about today is I'm going to show you my multi-camera setup, and I'm going to kind of go along with some of my super secret kitchen-y things that I've done that you guys can do if you're in a kitchen or not. Basically, a lot of the Ecamm demos don't really go into all the things that you may need in your kitchen to do this multi-camera setup. First off, I want to tell you, if you're new, and I know a lot of the Ecamm fam is here, and you guys are not new, and this is not for you, you can start with your MacBook and just have your camera phone. I use NDI HX camera app, which turns my camera into another phone. So here's my camera here, and I think it's upside down right now. But I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, great. And so, okay, good. I can talk loud. I can fill a room. And Mortar Mike says, love your passion to improve. Shows us we can tweak things on the fly. It was a setting you made to your device to your left. Ignore me. I want to watch you teach. Great. And see, here's the thing, is that if you can teach, you're going to be able to improvise. If you've ever taught an in-person cooking class, the person is going slower. Somehow this mango is not ripe and it cannot be cut with the knife you gave someone, right? You have to improvise. You have to go in there. And I personally am not a scripted person. Shocker, right? So if you're a scripted person, you can have a script. I have a couple of notes, but in general, I know what I want to do. Even though we had that little mishap go on, I still know what I want to show you because you're right there. And I'm here for you. And that's really what's going on. Okay. All right. So anyhow, what I'm going to do is let me show you this first, is that you can kind of see the back of my setup. And this is from the iPad that's right back here. I've got 4 lights up here. You don't have to have 4. I am going to show you in a minute how those are connected to the cabinets. You can also see my Cornish pixies and my candles hanging up on the ceiling because we're Harry Potter freaks. This is my overhead camera. I just have on a regular tripod. And then that's my fancy front camera right there. I've got some stuff over to this side that I'm going to show you that are some options as we go along. Okay, oh, and Sherry's new to Ecamm. That's great. Oh, and welcome, Sherry. And Mortar Mike says, it's Allison. That's hilarious. That's awesome. So I know that, here we go. Let's come back here. And I will even show you this, though this is not an angle that I use, and it's going to change the lighting a lot. This is the one on my old MacBook Pro. So this is another camera that I could use. So if you're new, this could be your front camera. You could have it up on books and angle it down a little bit so you can see. Like, this isn't the most flattering angle from down. It's better from up. But I love you guys, so I'm doing this for you. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm still reading about all these other things, and I need to just take a chuckle. I don't know what the gain is, Christine, so I can't really, Cheryl usually does that, and she is not here. Now, my overhead camera, let's see if I've got, here, we'll put a box under there, because you don't really have anything interesting to look at. Okay, so this is my overhead camera. And I can change the settings from one to the other. Okay. And it's really easy. And so let me show you something. I want to see if I can get this back where it's supposed to be. I got to make one camera adjustment, and then I'll show you my phone camera. Oh, it's right. Okay. So there you go. You guys can see, this is my phone. So one of the things that Chocolate Twist had asked is if I'm using this gimbal, and I am right now. One of the things I wanted to show you is kind of a little close-up of some of the setup. And I'm starting to use the gimbal also because my kitchen, as you can see, it's really big from there to here. Okay? And I had it sitting right here where I could show the stove, and then I could twist it over and show some cutting. And you guys probably noticed, but maybe if you don't, let me show you this. When you use the NDI HX, oh, shoot. You guys, okay, here we go. Let's do that again. It's one of those days. Okay, so I'm going to show you all the things again, but I'm not going to explain it as much, but I will see if there are any questions. And yeah, Doc knows all the other stuff. Thanks, guys, and I'm so sorry that I'm doing that. It's exciting. So again, you can see these cords, and one of the cords is connecting that to the HDMI cable. There's a dummy battery, and that means I don't run out of battery. Here we go, and I'm going to show you all again. I'm not used to walking away from where I can see the comments. Okay, so this is the back stuff. You can see all the way. And like I said, all across these floors we have wires and things. And so all these orange and things are just Cheryl tucking in the wires. And these are the tiki torch holders I was talking about that we got a couple of years ago for $5 each. I think the photography brand equivalent was like $50 each. Okay. Here we go. So again, this is going to the HDMI, and there you can kind of see what I'm calling a dummy battery. It looks like the battery, but it just plugs into a socket. So I don't have to worry when I have 3-hour classes. Okay, and then I was saying here, sorry, I'm getting used to this. There we go. Because I never walk around with things. So those are the sound things that go with my mic. That's the power backup. That's all kinds of cords for us. And this darker one is where I have all 4 lights plugged in, so I just turn them on and it comes on. And I just have a fan that clips onto the tripod. It's just a cheap plastic fan. But see, I have it angled so it goes up to that camera. And this is the sandbags. So that was the stuff I was telling you about when you were like, what the heck is that lady talking about? So let's go here for a second. So with the gimbal, it just means I can walk around and you don't feel sick. And I have it where it has the tripod in it. And this is new to me, so I've maybe had it not quite a month. But one of the things, when I had it over there, I can move this to move where it's seeing, and it moves it slowly. If you had it in here and you move the phone, it's going to kind of go. So that's why I'm using it for. And Chocolate Twist was asking about it a little bit earlier. Let me see if there's any questions that I've missed. That you guys are probably doing this. So like someone say, we can use our iPhone, iPad, GoPro, connect with as wireless while using. Now, I don't know if you can connect wirelessly with a GoPro. I'm thinking not, and probably Doc answered that. But you can, for sure, do that with your phone and your iPad, because that's what I'm doing right now. What's kind of ironic is when I first, NDI HX is an app in the Apple Store. I think it's probably an app in the Android store, so maybe one of you guys know and can answer that. But I didn't realize it was wireless. I just thought it was a good way to do things. So what I did is I was plugging in, I unplugged it, I'm like, why is it still showing? This is magic. And then I was like, hey. Now I can put this by the sink, I could put this on the deck. I could say, oh, look, there's a bird, and change cameras, and it could be on my deck, which is right in front of me. Okay. And Doc asked about GoPro, but GoPros are finicky. We actually used GoPros at one part of our, so we started out using a phone. I used Ecamm from the very, very beginning. As soon as I had a multi-camera, actually maybe even before I had a multi-camera setup, I was using Ecamm. Then we went to webcams, and there was all kinds of crazy stuff with the webcams then, because we did this, started in maybe 2017-ish. Switched to GoPros, and then I really wanted to upgrade our quality, so that's when I changed to these cameras. And lately, I've been adding in more side angles and things like that. Okay. Life happens. Yes, it does. And it does to me for sure. And just like in my cooking classes, I like for things to go wrong, honestly. Because there could be a part of me that could have like the green goop of shame. Oh my God, I did something wrong. Just yes, I did. Just admit it. Let's see how we can do this and go on with our thing. For me, I'm always here at like central, but I decided I wanted to try and be fancier. See what happens? Next time, it'll go smoothly. And that's what I want you to know. So since a lot of you are doing that, yep, absolutely. That's awesome. Oh, Cooking with Caffeine is here, yay! And so the NDI, one thing too, like, so if you have a partner or a spouse that you share phones, like Apple with at least, so Cheryl also has an iPhone and an iPad, so I can use those four as 4 camera angles plus my laptop. That would be without any of this, okay? And the thing that I showed you over to the side was an Orbi mesh network. That's what Cheryl likes a lot. If Doc or anybody else has some recommendations for something different, please put that in there. What it does, we're in a split level, and instead of me running a network cord down the stairs and down the hall where we're going to kill ourselves, it allows it to just have like a little mini station here. I also have one in my office, so I can do Zoom calls. Cheryl has one in her office, and it just makes everything smoother. If you don't plug in, it is much more difficult to get a good, clear signal. So you could be using a really good camera. You could be having a great internet connection speed-wise, but if you're using Wi-Fi, you could still find that it degrades the image. So let's see what else we're missing. You know, I don't have the gimbal on my equipment list, but what I'm going to do as soon as I finish this, because I decided to get fancy and clean up a little bit, I'm going to add some of these extras, because there's the gimbal, and there's 2 other things I'm going to tell you about from Elgato. Elgato CamLink is what we've used a couple of. We also have some off-brands, because in 2020 you couldn't get them because all of the world went online, right? All the, you know, all the churches, all the businesses, so a lot of those things got bought up or went super expensive. But I'll put all of that on there, I promise you. And I really do love this gimbal. I know about as much about it as I use Ecamm. I use about 5 to 10% of Ecamm, and that's what I'm showing you today. If you guys want to see fancier Ecamm, we will totally do that too, okay? We can do that another time. And I'd love to do that. Oh. Yep. Oh, and thank you. This is my wife, Cheryl. She says, just for the record, she did not tweak any of the sound stuff. I love that. Awesome. And what is it called again? Would it be this thing? If it's this thing, and this twists off. This is a gimbal, so see how it corrects for me doing something crazy? It just makes things smoother for like movies. I'm digging it for a couple of reasons. I wanted to go take my people into a lot of stores that I send them in. And I'm like, go to the Indian market, go to the Hispanic market, go to your local markets and get these things fresher and cheaper and live a little. Get out in the world, see new things. And so I'm going to take them with me into some of these places to make, it seem easy. I love going in there, and I learn something every time. So I'm going to do some videos of that. That's why I got the gimbal, but then I had it, and I'm like, it has a little thing where I can put it in that corner and with the button over to the stove, over to the counter. So I do like that. And I'm sure there's like 80,000 bazillion better things to do with it than that, but that's what's going to work for me in the kitchen right now. And we'll probably do something too in here, because I'm going to show you Ecamm, but I want to make sure you guys got the setup. Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you, Shonda. Yeah, and you can get any angles you want. And again, when we're talking, this is something else I'm experimenting with, which is the Elgato face cam. But so you can have a tripod like this, a tripod like that. Just depends on what you want to do. And also, this tripod can fit those things as well. And all you need is you probably have just the regular, it's got a screw. It's just this little thing. You can get a nice one or you can get a cheap one on Amazon. Just make sure it fits the size of your phone. So literally, you pull this back, and you fit your phone in there, horizontal or vertically. So it has a little screw cap where you could do either way. And actually, a little bit. Are you going to focus where I want you to focus? There we go. So see how it's got one there, and it has one there. So with this, you have to decide what you're doing at the beginning, because it's not fancy like the gimbal. The gimbal, you don't have to decide all that. It moves and does it. Okay. So those tripods are anywhere between $10 and $20. They usually come with kind of a really lightweight one of these to hold your phone. If you just have a little phone, you don't need anything heavy duty, but if you know you're going to upgrade your phone, go ahead and get a little bit nicer one. Those aren't expensive. Okay. Let's see what I've missed. Oh yeah, Doc's going to be talking tomorrow because he's awesome. And let's see, when does it say? A live demo every Friday at 2. And he does all the bells and whistles. I'm telling you how I have a cooking setup, and then I'm going to show you how I would do a cooking demo using it too. Someone's offering if I want to come to your house to figure out the setup. And we could talk about that. I do coaching too, so if that's something you want to talk about, setting things up, or if you just have some general questions, put them in the comments, and I'll be glad to try and get back with you. Cheryl is doing some more setting up things for other people. Awesome. And let's see what we've got here. Okay. So now let's do a quick little demo, like a proper demo. So I'm going to take you where you can see live demo mode. Okay, turn on live demo mode. You guys should be seeing what I call my little film strip. You guys see that? I'm just trying to make sure we've got all the things we need here. Okay. And I'm leaving the interview on in case Caleb needs to answer a question. Alrighty. So, what you're seeing here is all you have to do is to click. So that's taking you to my iPad. That's taking you to the phone. That's on the gimbal. This is the overhead. Oop. Come on, click there. This is the overhead, right? Got some chia seeds. And then this is the front-facing camera. So literally, I clicked the picture for the thing to change. And everybody who's in the Ecamm family are like, oh my God, their eyes are rolling back in their head because they know all this. But If you wanted to teach a cooking class today, you can, right? You've got, once I added the HDMI in, or opened up HDI NX, no, NDI HX, NDI HX app, the phone picture shows up in that film strip. Okay? That's it. And that's all I have to do to change. Now, there are other ways we can change too, but I want to show you a couple more things in there before we get to some of the extra stuff that you could use. So you're seeing the comments and the reactions, which is awesome. There is also a window for camera effects, and it's awesome too. So I can zoom and pan, and watch this. So not only can I zoom, like that is a stupid place for the zoom to be. Look, there I am. I can just move that around. So sometimes when I'm doing something that's just maybe a talking head or something like that, I can make it where it looks better. Because my kitchen is a little bit weird and a weird wide angle. But, you know, it is what it is. So you can change that. I can also, so I said it was getting darker and lighter. If you have a good camera, see, look at that. Let's blow it out. So I'm trying to blow it out. And we could go darker. So I could set that right there in Ecamm. And I can do that for each camera. In fact, sometimes when I have a guest on, I've been able to do the adjustments. Sometimes it's not. So I think it does depend on the quality of the camera, but Doc can probably answer that for us. And I'll be in there. So we can change the saturation. If you wanted me to look pinker and more purple, look how pink I am. It's ridiculous. You know, or look, it's the 50s. And we're in black and white. Right? So there's any of those things I can change. I can mirror it, go to black and white, rotate. There's all kinds of things you can do in here. And then I can take that off, and we'll just go right back to where we were. Now, there are tons of ways that you can change things when you put it in scenes and using numbers on your keyboard and things like that. We're just not talking about that today. We are talking about just the simplest of the simple. So with each camera, I'm going to go click on that film strip, part for that camera, then I'm going to be able to access that camera's menu to tweak it. If you have two different cameras like I do, I have a Sony front-facing, which is a good camera, and then I have a Lumix, which is an okay camera. So I tend to tweak the overhead more than I tweak the one coming towards me, except for zooming in and out. The better quality of your camera, the better results you have from using those adjustments in my personal experience. Doc and Caleb may have something else to say about that as well. Okay? And what I would love to know is if you guys have some questions now, because if not, I'm going to go ahead and do a quick demo. And I'm just going to make an oat milk so you can see how I would use the different angles in doing something. Because it seems stupid to just talk about how I might use it. Okay. What is the name? What is the name for adding the additional cameras? And that is NDI HX camera. I'm sure of it. And that's the one I use. I believe there are other ones that you can use too. So Caleb, Doc, Paul, anybody, if you guys have one that you use, that's just the one I found out about first. And so it works for me, and I'm done. I don't need to find anything else till this doesn't work well. Can we use Ecamm with Zoom to talk to our audience? Oh, like Zoom the program. For a second, I was like, because I saw the little Zoom. Yes, you can. So you need Ecamm Pro. So there's two versions. There's Ecamm Regular and Ecamm Pro, and I'm sure I'm using the wrong terminology. I'm on Ecamm Pro for two reasons. I can use live interview mode. And what happens is I have an interview show. So I'll show you on. Is it gonna? No. There we go. And it's at the wrong camera. It's at the bad camera. But I can change that. See, look, I can change the cameras here. So I have this set up from my last interview. And let's just do here. So I can be in here and someone else can be there. So that's one reason. The other thing is this little thing here. Let me go back to full me. See that little icon there? Standard and Pro, Doc told me. And see that little red thing that has a video and says Cam under full me, which is what I call the scene. Because I have full me, guest full, and then the guest double. Okay. And yeah, so here's the thing. Absolutely. So, and I believe this was already being said too. So it is a virtual camera and microphone. Now, I don't really use the virtual microphone at this point, so I can't really speak to it. But I use virtual cam all the time. So honestly, I was like, I'm not upgrading, because I bought it back at the time you bought it once. And then I started seeing all the cool stuff that was happening, and I was like, I need Pro, and I needed Pro for virtual cam. And so that means when I go into Zoom, so like you're in the little Zoom thing, and hopefully you guys are okay with still seeing all these things. I want you to kind of, you see my microphone. I'm still sharing my screen with you and all that, because we are going to come back, and I want you to see the whole thing together, which you don't usually get to do in a demo. But so you're on Zoom, and then you click and you pick your microphone, you click, you pick your camera. Ecamm Virtual Cam is a choice. So you have to make sure, I think, where is it in here? You have to have, okay, is it an option? I always have it on. Oh, there we go. It's an output, virtual cam, and you just turn it on or off. So if it's turned off or it's not installed, then you won't have it as an option. If you don't have the Pro version, you won't have it as an option. Does that make sense? I think, and honestly, to me, it's worth it. So for me, as a cooking instructor, or for Christina as a photographer and food photography instructor, it's well worth it, because then you go into Zoom, and literally what happens is I have this panel up that you guys are seeing with all the stuff. I put it over to the side. I have my Zoom window to the side, so in case I need to watch the host, because I do a lot of cooking demos. And I've also done a lot of talking about doing live cooking classes and live cooking demos in different conferences. And being able to show this, so even then I can show my setup real quick with this camera. And it's so much easier to kind of get that all set up. Full Me is an awesome screen name, Doc says. And hopefully this is helping you guys see things a little bit more. I know it's not, slick and picture perfect, but neither am I. So, yeah, at my live. And this is the way things go. Oh, this is hilarious. Now I need it. And says, Doc says he'll teach you everything you know. Just don't be as stubborn as me. I am so stubborn, you guys. So Caleb, those of you who were at IFBC, there was the big screen, and I was coming over to find him, like, the film strip, and Caleb's going, that's called the bleepity blah. And I'm like, yes, sir. Oh, great. Oh, and I missed that. When you use the iPhone, do you have the microphone off, or do you use the lavalier? So what happens down here, and I can show you guys right over here, is I could pick different mics. So the Camly, and it's going to rain, so I don't know if you're going to hear the rain now. But I could pick the different ones. So I could actually have it go onto my laptop. I could have it go wherever. I always use this wireless mic because if I had it on the other one, by the time I get back here, you're not going to hear anything I say, especially when I turn around to get more water. And when I'm doing my cooking classes, I am literally telling them dozens of tips while I do that. So it allows me a lot of freedom, It also means when I blow a fuse, I can talk to my people while I go downstairs and fix it. So it works for me. I only use one mic at a time. I don't know about, again, in a cooking setup, I'm not seeing how you would need more than one, but you may not be in a cooking setup, and I'm sure someone else, but having, just having it on me has always been really nice, personally. Yeah, oh, okay, and Caleb kind of backed me on that. Yeah, because you don't really want like a mic on the blender and a mic on you. And in fact, I like this mic a lot, the Shure wireless. It's very expensive, so we upgraded to this. If you go to kathyhester.com, I have some equipment in that I have like a very inexpensive USB wireless microphone that I used for several years. Is it perfect? Is it the best? No, but it's a great way to just get out there. I think it's around, it fluctuates, but it's around $50 to $70. And if Doc or Caleb have any other like inexpensive mics that they would recommend, I would love that. Because Cheryl isn't here. Oh, that's a great, Doc. Can this be the Doc and Kathy show? And that way you take half the blame. No, just kidding. So, and that's a great thing, because the cords are tiny and they break. So let me get this out of my pocket. God knows what I'm going to do now. So, there is this, and also there's the on-off button. And I'm queen of leaving it on after a class and killing batteries. So I actually use rechargeable batteries. So around behind that fridge, I have a double batch of these that are charged up at all times. So if something, maybe they stop lasting as long, I can just go and switch them out really quick without having to fumble around very much. My cooking classes are 2 to 3 hours long. And that's why I like the setup the way it is. It doesn't matter how long I have my camera on. It's plugged in, right, with that dummy battery. It doesn't matter about this. So far, this lasts way longer than that, but if something happens and it doesn't, I can just switch them out really quickly. When I was using regular batteries, I went through a lot because it doesn't tell you how full the battery is. Okay, let's see what... if it messed up the sound. I have no idea. And I don't know why my sound got weird today. Who knows? Maybe my cable's going bad, and I just don't know. It didn't seem like there were any kinks on it. And I do not know if we have an extra cable or not, or cord. So I'm going to have Cheryl make sure that she did that. So that was a really great one. Oh, I love this. Brand with Alan says, extra mics for ASMR. This is why I'm not making hundreds of thousands of dollars in ASMR. But anyhow, yeah, I think if you had it in different places or you wanted it to sound in surround sound or something like that, and yeah, cooking classes, you got more to do than that, for sure. Fry pan sizzle mac. It's all about the sizzle ASMR. You guys are hilarious. Hey, Eric. All right, OS question. What is the minimum Mac OS needed for Ecamm? I have an old machine called Grandpa that's on the older, the older OS. Let me see which one I'm on while the boys will come and answer. This Mac is like sad. It's sad in so many ways. So one of the reasons I wanted a lavalier mic is because I have everything turned off and the fan runs so hard. This is an old Mac, a MacBook. Let's see what it says. I'm on Catalina, but I will tell you this, it is even hard to pull up certain things. Oh, great, thanks. 10.12 or newer. And what do I have? I just said the name. There's my Ecamm. Hello. It's not going to show me. Okay. And Doc says he doesn't do inexpensive when it comes to mics. But here is the difference. So this is probably the one thing I'm going to split off from Doc on. Because Doc is thinking long term. I'm thinking that I want you to, now it shows. See how slow it is? 10.15. So I'm just barely there. We're actually switching this out for the Mac Mini this weekend. So I'm getting an upgrade and I'm super excited. And if you don't have a Mac already, Mac Minis are quite inexpensive. Doc and Caleb can tell you, but I'm going to be using mine with 8 gigs, which is the smaller amount. But here's the thing, what some of the live streamers who are super cool, they have 80 bazillion monitors and a lot of different things going on. And we just have these cameras through HDMI cables. So we're not using quite the amount of power that they are, though this is getting really sad. So I actually had to open it up to get some information from browser, and I was just felt like it was 1999 or 2003 or something. It was a little bit crazy. Okay. And Chocolate Twist is saying, yeah, it's absolutely, my computer is going so slow right now. And I think that's absolutely true. Having a backup cable, I think that's really great. And is asking, have I ever used the wireless Rode Wireless Go? And you know, oops, let me step back up there. My wife selected the Shore. So she did the research. She's like, this is a setup that the churches are on. And I'm like, okay. So I can't answer. That's also why I'm passing a lot of these technical questions off to Caleb and Doc, because they know. Cheryl did a lot of research, and this is what she decided. We had the Comica Pro that I was playing with a little bit, but it wasn't quite working with the setup that we had at that moment. We would try it again. I've heard nothing but great things about the Rode, but I do love the Shore, except for today. So normally it's really, really great quality. So, oh, I like that. Ecamm Live, ASMR fan page. I could do that. You can find some, you could do some cooking stuff with that. Oh, and that's great. So, and I think that's Dina, says that she has a backup Rode Wireless Go set up so she doesn't have to stress before she goes live. Doc's old machine is called Darth Sidious. I like that. All right. Oh! Doc says, don't get me into trouble. Too late. Doc, you're in trouble. Okay, and Grandpa is on 10.14, so we're at a win. And this is Christina. And she uses a Sennheiser wireless mic. If they're complicated, it sounds great. She's all kinds of, so she's been in pro food photography for a long time. So she is really great with equipment and cameras and things like that. Okay, so let's just do, I know we're running over a little bit, but it's me. I do long classes. So we're just going to make, get this guy over here. Move this over here a little bit. I'm just going to make a quick oatmeal. So you can kind of see what I'm doing here, right? So normally I'd be talking always here, and then looking over to change some things. So what we're going to do is we're going to put an unknown amount of oats, about a half a cup. And Maxie says hello, especially to Doc. I know you guys heard that. So about a half a cup of oats. I'm going to put probably, we could also then change to my overhead. You can see me put things in here, right? See? This isn't the best place for it. My wires are a little bit messed up. And I'm going to focus this. We're just going to shake it a little bit. That's okay. I'm going to put, I don't know, half a teaspoon of chia seeds in there. And what that's going to do, Christina says, 30 years of shooting. I'm not trying to out you anyway. I'm going to put about 3 cups of water in here. And we could also do something from the side. So I could, and again, I'm getting used to moving this around. Oh, no, it just flipped upside down on me. I am new to this camera. Can I get that back over here? Well, come back to me. We're not going to use it right now. We're going to go back to the overhead. No idea why it just did that, but I am learning it, and that is the way things go. All right, so I could use it from the side, and actually what I can do, well, that's going to take too much time. Pop that right side again? Nope. It was, there we go. All kinds of where I don't want. Normally I have these things sort of set up, but I'm moving this guy around. But let's see, go here. Maybe we want to be here, and you can like, ooh, look at the water coming this way. Instead of the overhead, whatever you want to do. Like for instance, if we were at the overhead camera at this point, and I'm going to blend it, we're also going to put a little bit of vanilla. You could put some maple syrup, you could put some dates in there. We're making it unsweetened today. Once I put this on, to me it becomes very uninteresting. You can see a little bit through here. So I was switching to this front view, which still I feel like doesn't always give that as good attention or focus. So having it over here, you know, it's a little more focused. I can zoom in and stuff. We're not going to bother with that right now. And my mic should mute or at least dampen the blender. Okay. And so, do you see how it's kind of really easy for me to do that? It didn't take a lot. I wasn't like running around or doing anything like that. That's why I put focus for the cooking classes on just clicking those things. And we're going to show some, I'm going to show you some other ways you could do it, or well, I'm going to show you some things that you could do it with. And again, so now also, you're not going to see this very well here from this angle. We could go up top. Okay. And that's okay. But again, I think kind of having this side. I'm going to learn how to control this. Before it's all said and done. Okay? And then one of the things I do with this is I would use this to go, oh, now you're getting all the oat gunk out of your oat milk. You can put that in cookies, blah, 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 blah. And then if it's something that we've seen plenty of, which you probably could, we could then switch back to the front and just chat. And I'll pull it up a little bit closer. And you could have the camera farther away. Like I have a dining room table back there. So for me, knowing I have these other camera angles, I feel good about this. Now, another thing to kind of notice, I have glasses. You don't see the lights in my glasses until I go, ha, 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 which obviously I do a lot. I didn't know that before live video. So, uh-oh. All right, so then one of the things is I have my lights up high. Remember? You guys saw that there? So this is me, the back of my head. I'm 5'1", so that's a couple of feet above my glasses. And also, what you can see the lights in the window from here, this view, but I have the camera angled so that you don't, because I'm short. So some of you people who are really, really tall may not have those options. It just asked me to do the echo cancellation. It wasn't on there before. So, or I didn't see it. Did you guys see it? And I didn't see it, which is possible because I'm doing other things. But it just came up and I was like, whoo, there's a yellow triangle. Let me see what's going on. All right. I just fixed it. But it wasn't on there before. Or I didn't see it when I was looking at mine. No idea. So I did upgrade the audio with Ecamm, and I don't know if that changed anything and got fixed again. Honestly, I've done nothing. I've done nothing different than my live a couple of days ago, but the audio was good. All right. Is there anything you'd like to hear me to say again? Is there anything you'd like to hear me say again? But so I want you to see though just how easy this is. Because you can do different things. So Doc Rock and Caleb, and you can do the scenes. Like I have scenes that I'm using in Papa. You can use a scene to do like a countdown. You can then click 2 and go to the next scene, which will pull over your recipe. You can make a lot of graphics in Canva and use them. But the thing I want you to understand, most of all, for those of you who are trying to do cooking classes, is that you could put Ecamm on your computer today. Hook it up with your phone with an app like NVIHS, and you're good to go with 2 camera angles for very little money. Now, my lights are not the best lights, and I'm sure Dr. Rock and Caleb will have something to say about what some of those are, although this is one that I have that's like an Elgato key light, but this is like $100. My least nice lights up there were like $125. And then my better lights I got on sale, I think they were $225 on sale. And what will happen is someday I'll upgrade something and another one will go on. But it's not important, and you do not need the setup that I have to do your cooking class or your cooking demo or any demo tomorrow. You can do it tomorrow. All you need is to download Ecamm, use your phone. If you have a tripod of some kind, like for my iPad, I'm just using this. My iPad is a little bit big because it's a Pro, because I use it as another monitor for something else, that I'm not going to put it on something a little bit funky. But even my phone, that's a big Pro Max iPhone, whatever the latest one is, that's fine in this little guy. And you probably could order a phone tripod and something like this. Now this is the Manfrotto one. This is the little Manfrotto one. Now the thing is this will give you like a good angle this way, which a lot of people are using in TikTok, Reels, things like that. But you're not going to get those kind of side shots. So when you're starting to do this, think of the angles. You can have your MacBook or whatever here, and then move it a little bit. So I did an interview with someone last week. She moved it a little bit, moved it back up. Worked fine. The idea of all of this is not perfection, because I could get everything Doc wants me to say. and it would cost me $80 bazillion more than I have. And then you know what? Next year, there's going to be a whole 80 bazillion more things to get. So there's always going to be this thing. It's better to start now and get good. Then when you're upgrading equipment, it'll matter. When you're not used to looking through the camera, because that's the most important thing you can do is connect with your body. And if I'm looking down like this, or I'm talking, blah, 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 you're not connected. Now, I've trained my audience when I look here that I am interacting with them. I'm putting something they set up. I'm saying their name, so they're okay with that. I've trained them. I've also trained them that as soon as they come on, tell me where you're from, tell me what the weather's like, because they can see the weather outside my window. And because of that, they talk to each other. So there's always something going on, and I feel comfortable and at ease because everybody was okay. So those are really important things. And if you just practice, and the thing is, you can get a private Facebook group and go in and practice. If you email me at Kathy@kathyhester.com, and you want to be in my private Facebook test group, you're welcome to. You will see me from time to time going, they say you can do this. Let's see if you can do it on a laptop. Nope. And that might be it. Or, testing something new. It's just a way that you can do it in private, look at it, know that you're looking through the camera. And looking through the camera is more about intention. Because there's a thing in Aikido where you hold your arm out and you have somebody, you think about the end of your fingers, and you have someone who's bigger than you, or the same size and strong, make your elbow bend, and it bends pretty easily. Then you think, I'm going through the wall, into the forest, across the street, and then you have them do it. And even without me, it's still much stronger. You'll have to try that yourself to see how it works. It's the same thing. If I drop my view before it gets to the camera, it looks lazy. I'm not as engaged with you. If I look through the camera, through the wall, that's what I'm doing. So if you're new to being on camera at all, that's the one skill you want. Because if you can connect with your audience, it doesn't matter how crappy the picture and the sound. I mean, there is a limit. And evidently I pushed it today. But just know that. But I just want you to get started, and you can really share what you have with the world quite easy. Okay, and let's see what we have. Okay, great. And I'm just going to make sure there are no more questions. There's no best lights, camera, mic, can't, etc. Those things are situational, and a $500,000 camera will be as useless underwater as a $500 GoPro kills that. But a $500 GoPro kills that. And I think everything is situational. So a lot of you people who want to do cooking classes probably have a Canon or a Nikon camera. So you're probably going to bring that on with you, which is great. And if you don't, again, the phone and the laptop works. And I think that, okay, Caleb's answering that about the HDMI. And this is what I've heard too, is with an HDMI cable, and this could be changed over versions. When we were first starting to get our stuff together, it was still giving a better picture sometimes than without it. Yeah. And Doc is saying, your HDMI cable and cam link or many Canon cameras work via USB, but you lose a little quality. So it's still kind of the same. And that's great too. So there are different ways to look at things, but I want you to start where you are. And you know what? It's like the idea of figuring out what this Canon camera thing is going to do and figuring out those details, if that's going to hold you back, if that's going to set you back 10 days instead of going live tomorrow, go live tomorrow with your iPhone and your laptop, then add that later on. Because the most important thing is to get started and get doing it. And I would love to challenge all of you to get a choice of 2 challenges. One, go live every week at the same day and time for the next 2 months. And you're, oh, what am I going to do? Make oat milk. Somebody wants to see it. I made Italian spice blend. So literally I measured out herbs and mixed them in a bowl. And my people loved it because now they didn't have to buy it at the store. You're not doing these lives for you. It doesn't have to be interesting for you. It doesn't have to be new and cool and exciting for you. You've got to focus on your people. So literally I made chickpea salad. And I was like horrified. And they go, oh, that's awesome. Or I've done chop and chat. So I'll have a lot of mushrooms. I went to the Asian market, got tons of mushrooms, and cut them up and put them in the freezer. I'd get on live, hey, what you guys doing? We're going to do a chop and chat. Let's just talk, ask me whatever you want. And then no matter how many times I do it, someone wants to know a bunch of questions about mushrooms, how to source them, what the heck am I doing freezing them, and all things like that. You could chop onions. I chopped onions for 2.5 hours during the pandemic. We just hung out. We had a great time. We formed a strong community. So don't make a croquembouche or a beef Wellington or whatever is the thing that's going to stretch you and be interesting for you to do. It's not about you. It's about them. It's year 3 of the pandemic. People are tired. People have a teaspoon of energy. What can you give them? What recipe can you give them where they don't have to go to the store? They can make dinner in like 30 minutes, maybe 15. Or how can they prepare? One of the things I'm going to do today is I think I'm going to do a little reel video or TikTok or whatever about I soaked my beans, but I got a better offer. People don't know that now they can put them in. They just pull them out from the offer. So anytime you find yourself going, what should I do with this? They want to know. Please, go live for 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 3 hours, 7 minutes. Okay, so yeah, upgrade your skills, then upgrade your gear. And I think that's awesome. Doc Rock is so awesome. I just love him. Okay, and I know this has gone long, and I'm sorry, guys. Oh, Coach Constance. Oh, don't be bummed because there's going to be a replay, and you too. And maybe Caleb will do me a solid and cut a couple of things out of it. Like when I went and showed you my whole setup without showing. Because mistakes happen live. That's the one thing you need to know. And the more okay you are with mistakes, the more okay your audience is. Let's say my blender exploded or the top came off. I'd be like, you know what I can teach you? Is let's talk about how I can have secured this stuff. Let's talk about the cleanser I'm going to use to clean this up with. You guys can see all the way up there, there is literally stuff. Oh, you can't see it too much. So there's up there is literally smoothie. There's smoothie bits from some, there's just stuff that happens. How am I going to clean it? They want to know all those things. It's going to happen to them. Oh, great. And Gretchen uses a USB cable to connect both her cannons, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I don't want you to hear that I'm saying you have to do things. I'm trying to simplify it. I do like my HDMI cables, and I like my dummy batteries, and I like never having to think about this. It makes me happy. And I love that. Doc's saying, y'all start and then add. None of y'all learn to talk without starting with little noises and grunts. Now we can't keep you quiet. And so that's awesome. All right. I think does anybody else have any questions? Doc says we're cutting the bad words out. I don't say any bad words when I'm live. So we got that good. If you guys have more questions, so look down below or to the side, depending on how you're looking at this, there's a link. This is the one thing on here that I need to tell you. There's a link to get Ecamm through my link. It is my affiliate link that's listed there, so just so you know that you get the same thing at the same price with no additional cost to you, but I do get a little bit of money from it. And thank you for supporting me. That's how much I love it. That's all I have to say. And Paul says, Doc, I want to do a live with Doc in the same room. Doc says, Smoothie on the Ceiling is the name of my Fallout Boy cover band. I love that. And Paul says, don't forget to hit the like. We want to do all the happy things for Ecamm. Thank you so much, Caleb, Doc, Katie, Paul, and all the wonderful people in the Ecamm family. I cannot be more pleased to be associated with such awesome and smart people. So do know this. I got into Ecamm when I didn't know what was what, and it was very tiny, and it had done nothing but grow and add features and make things better and easier to use, and then added even better support. So I would definitely make sure you go and join the Ecamm community Facebook group, and at least start there, because you'll get to see the friendliness and the helpfulness. I think you saw that even in the chat of this, which was really awesome. All right. Oh, good. So Gourmet Does Skinny said she learned a lot. Awesome. Okay, you guys. Thank you all so very much. Oh, quick thing. 2 quick things I'm going to show you real fast that most of you guys who are still here know. There are fancy things that are getting ready to go on my equipment room. This is a pedal, so the way I've been clicking the film strip, you could click 3 pedals and change it. And again, if you guys are interested and you want to try another live with me, let the Ecamm people know. And then this is a mini stream deck, so you can press the key. So those are 2 other ways besides turning and doing the film strip. That's just how I started out 5 years ago, and I'm gradually upping my game. Okay, awesome, you guys. Have an amazing rest of your week. And I hope seeing this whole view over here, you can see me coming over to the finish button. What I do is I come over here, I click it over to the finish, and then we'll be done. So have a great week. Kathy at kathyhester.com if you have any questions at all.